everybody, welcome back to another episode of Happiness Matters, the show with your host, Mo the service dog, who is chewing on his favorite candy corn squeaky toy right now on the floor here, me, Beanie Man, and my wonderful guest and friend, Dominic Nicole, and we met, not really networking, we actually went to an event together with Gary Barnes, his Business Breakthrough Mastery Bootcamp. Say that 3 times fast.
No kidding. That is a mouthful.
But that's where we met, and you were sitting behind me, actually.
That first time.
The first time, yes. Yeah. So, and we just connected because, you know, sometimes you meet people and you have that instant connection and it's like you feel like you've known them forever and you can't explain why. Well, I know why. It's because our souls have been connected, but that's a whole different story.
Yes, it is. To the episode.
I know, right? It's like, whoa.
Stay tuned.
Where did that go? Anyway, but we had that connection, you know, and here we are. And she agreed to come down to be on the show and share a little bit about yourself. So my first question is, are you a native Coloradoan or are you an import?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because I am an import from Hong Kong, actually.
Shut up! So you're made in China?
I have the t-shirt.
I'm sorry, I just had to
I
go
was
there.
made in China.
Woo!
But I'm not cheap. I'm just putting that out there.
I love it.
I'm more on the costly end.
That's funny, huh? Yes, it's funny.
So I've been here since I was 5, so I consider myself a native.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think after like 20 years.
I don't know what it is anymore, but I mean, it's been a few more than 20.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But to me, after 20 years, it's like, now you're native.
Right.
You've been assimilated.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
I'm halfway there.
10 years? Just 10 years here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Oh, wow.
But it's like really quick. Yeah, I'm here courtesy to the U.S. Army. My husband,
Okay.
they decided to send us here for him to be stationed here. And
Okay.
So,
Nice.
and it's funny because Colorado was always on our dream list, and at some point, which is like,
As is most, really.
right. Well, I mean, I see why.
Yeah.
You know,
every time I
then-
travel, people are like, "Oh my God, you're from Colorado."
I know.
You know.
You know, and then we were here, and we had just moved here. We've been here about 2 weeks. And I remember I was driving on Academy before, I mean, now the potholes are back, but that was before they fixed it, and now they need to, but anyway, it's been a while. And so I'm driving, and I get this overwhelming feeling. And it was weird. It was good, but it was so strange. It was so overwhelming. I actually had to pull over, and then it hit me, and I started crying, like, wow. For the first time in my life, I felt like I'm home. I felt like I belonged. On Academy. Yes.
Wow.
And
Well, that was before all the construction.
well, yeah, I mean, there were the potholes, and they fixed it, and
Yeah.
now they need to refix it.
Right.
So, but I mean, it was just so powerful and so overwhelming, and it's like, wow, I'm home. This is where this is home. I mean, if you guys ever felt that, you know, it's like, wow, I'm home, I belong. Well, I never had that growing up until we moved here. And I was alone in my car while I was driving there, and then I called my husband, and I was like, whoa! I was just crying, and he was like, oh, are you okay? I said, I'm okay, I'm home. And he said, I'll be at the house soon. I said, no, honey, I'm not at the house home. I'm home. And he's like, oh, so I'm buying you a house? Yup. And he goes, and my next assignment, because he was still active duty, I said, yeah, honey, we'll miss you.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, we bought the house, and we've been living in this house for 9 years now.
So was your plan to rent? You didn't know?
Well, yeah, because I mean, military is
You
like
move a lot.
every 2 years or something.
Right.
You know, we didn't expect to stay here
Right. That's
for an
unusual.
extended period of time, but
Yeah.
because it's like this felt home, and for the first time in my life, it's like I had that sense of belonging, and it's like, yeah, I mean, if the Army wants you to go somewhere else, love you, miss you, we'll be here when you get back.
Do you remember what you were thinking about when you had that moment, or what you saw?
I was on Academy. Did I mention that?
You did, which is why I'm asking. What did that
No, I
moment-
mean, it's just, I don't even know. I think what happened was at that moment, I was just driving and my mind was blank. I wasn't thinking about anything, because that's really when we get the,
Oh my gosh, drives are good for that.
when we get those connections and everything.
Right.
And I just remember this overwhelming sensation and feeling, and it was so overpowering, it was so strong, but it wasn't scary. It felt good, you know, and it was so strong. I really had to pull over. I don't remember which parking lot I pulled into, and to compose myself, and that's when it hit me.
Okay.
So, and
Interesting.
so yeah, so for me, I'm halfway there. So I get that sense of feeling and belonging and stuff, so yeah, and you came down from Denver. So have you always lived in Denver, or?
So I grew up in Littleton, so in the Columbine Hills area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then my parents divorced when I was, I think, 10 or 11, and then my mom and I moved to Aurora for a while. Then she remarried, I want to say 4 or 6 years later, and then I was back in Littleton.
Oh, okay.
So went to Arapahoe High School.
Nice.
A few other high schools before then.
Right.
And so now I'm in Highlands Ranch.
Littleton is a nice town.
It is. You know, that's home for me. I've always
Right.
been kind of on that southwest end, I guess you could say. So,
Nice.
yeah, I love it.
Very cool.
I love it.
Very cool.
Not the winter so much, but
Yeah. Well,
when the sun comes out, you know, I mean, Colorado is the best place to have winter for sure, so.
Colorado's the best place for anything.
Yeah,
Really.
and a lot of people agree because it's getting very busy.
I know. It's
Yeah.
like it's not that nice here.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing?
No, I mean it is just I don't know, there's just something about the energy here, the people, the mountains, I don't know. It's just home.
It's all I know, really, all
Good
I
for you.
remember, so
Right. Well, 5 is a young age.
it is.
I think what I read somewhere, I think we don't start forming memories until we're like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But that's funny, I'm still stuck on Made in China.
Oh, I know. I gotta find that T-shirt. It's been a while. I think it's probably shrunk by now, like most things do from China.
Yeah, no.
I never shrunk. I'm the tallest thing that ever came out of China at 5'10". So
That's funny. So
yeah.
anyway, so you've been here. So tell us a little bit about you. Like, you know, what's your story?
Oh my gosh, what is my story?
Because you know we have people on here that have stories or have messages, and
God, we all have
I
stories.
mean I know your story, but our audience doesn't.
Yeah.
So I mean, share whatever you're comfortable with.
Sure.
Because I think it's fascinating. I think it's something that more people need to know, and just to give them hope and encouragement.
Well, so I've been in real estate for, oh my gosh, you know, since from a very young age. I actually dropped out of college because I got an opportunity to work at this company, a real estate associated company. And, you know, I got promoted really quick and I started making really good money. You know, at 22, you're like, oh my God, this is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
This is the life!
Yeah. So I just never went back to school. You know,
Okay.
I was so bored in school. I really was just so bored. And, you know, math I struggled with. English, you know, came super easy to me. So I didn't really have to study that hard in certain subjects.
Right.
Which was good. But after 27 years in real estate, and after going through 2 really painful divorces. The first one with 3 babies. One was unborn at the time.
Oh wow.
And then the second one, there was a 4th child from that second marriage.
Mm.
And that ended, unfortunately, after 11 years.
Oh wow.
And so that was a time for just a lot of, where the heck am I? You know, like, what?
It's not just where, but who.
Who am
Who
I?
am I? It's like, you know.
Well, as a parent, you know, you do have this identity crisis when you stay home
As a parent, you become the mom. You're so and so's mom,
Right.
and you
or
know,
or
you
somebody's wife.
or somebody's wife. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
we totally lose a lot of our. I wouldn't say all of our identity, but a lot of it, and sometimes really all of it, or most of it.
Well, you do, and especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, right? Because you
Right.
don't have the same, you know, social lifestyle. You're not contributing in a different way other than just at home or you know,
Right.
cooking, meeting other people's needs, right?
Right.
But your needs just tend to go on hold for,
Ever.
well, we're going to use 18 years, but we all know it can exceed that sometimes.
Yes.
So, you know, I had kind of reached that point because my kids were getting older. You know, I was forced to have to go back to work. My youngest was born with type 1 diabetes.
Sorry
So
to
that
hear that.
prevented me from going back to work for a long time. And we just decided, you know, if we're going to have kids, what if I should stay home? And it made sense that I was that person.
Mm-hmm.
So after the second divorce, you know, it was time to start working again. I was not privileged in the way that I had an option, but I enjoyed, and I hate using that word, but at the time it really was working, you know, real estate was working. But after kind of going through those adversities, you know, I really had to sit back and just do a check, you know. Do I really want to jump into real estate? And, you know, it's gratifying to find people home, you know, a home
Well,
is
so
where
that, but I mean,
heart is.
it's what you knew.
It's all I knew.
That, right, you know,
Right.
and we're creatures of comfort, and we go
With what we know.
what we know, which
Right.
we think it's the easiest route because we know it. It's what's familiar,
Mm-hmm.
and we always look for what's familiar, whether it's in the job field or relationships or anything. Because we're creatures of comfort, we go with what's familiar,
Right.
and we know it's like, oh, I'll figure out how to make it work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's true.
It's a comfort zone,
Right. It could be painful. You know, it could be
A
a
lot
painful
of
situation, but
times
it's what
it
you
is.
know.
Right, because you have learned how to function
Mm-hmm.
and operate within that discomfort zone.
Right.
And it's not a comfort zone, it's a discomfort zone because it's like you hate being in there, you wish it were different,
Right.
but you're too scared to do something about it because it's familiar.
Right.
You know, I get it. I mean,
Right.
I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think at some point we're all there, and then most people are still there.
Well, fear of the unknown can be the worst type of fear. Right.
Oh, and that's what's paralyzing.
Yeah.
And I tell people, it's like, if you're scared to make a change, do it scared. The fear will go away because the more you do something, it's like when you were a kid and you started walking. Okay, you fell, you got up, you kept on walking,
Right.
and now you don't even think about walking anymore.
Right.
You just walk.
Exactly.
It's an automatic thing, and it's the same thing. You know, when we do something for the first time, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And there's stuff I do these days. People are like, "Oh, you're so brave." I'm like, I don't see myself as brave. I just do it because it's just, for me, it's fun. I make it fun. Am I scared sometimes? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do it scared. You do it anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't give power to that fear, because that fear will paralyze.
True.
You don't give power to that. You acknowledge it. It's like, yep, you're there. Hi. Don't have time for you right now. I'm going to do this over here.
Right. Did you have that same thought process before you became a coach, or before you started doing the real work on like mindfulness and manifestation and happiness and?
For me, no, because what I do now is something I've done my whole life.
Mm.
It's just now I do it on purpose with purpose.
Right.
You
I
know,
like that.
but there's still those fear factors are still there.
Mhm.
You know, because it's like we all have this. Am I good enough? Well, what if there's somebody better than me? Well, guess what? There's always somebody better than you, and I wouldn't say better, different.
Right.
You know, and it's like what I do, what you do, or what anybody does, it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for everybody. And the other thing too that I learned, and it took me a minute, is there is enough for everybody. There's enough for everybody. Because it's like even if you have two people doing the exact same thing, you know,
Oh, there's enough business, right?
there's enough business.
There's enough-
Because here's the thing, it's like you have two people doing the exact same thing, that they have different personalities. This person appeals to these people, this person appeals to these people.
Right.
And there's plenty of everything for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So once that clicked for me, that took that fear out. That what if.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, that what if, da da da, and blah blah blah. And it's like, I mean, I still do the what if, but instead of doing the what if down, I do the what if up.
Right.
It's so much fun. Because, I mean, the effort is the same, energy output is the same.
Right.
You know, so, and so to me it's second nature, but there's like, again, there's still this fear thing. I mean, even doing the show, when I first started, I was like, well, what if people don't watch it? What if, you know, it just bombs? It's like, so what if it does? I do it anyway because it's fun, and because my thing is, if the show reaches one person and makes a difference for one person,
Right.
it was all worth
It
it.
served its purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and there's stuff, it's like, I have a regular spot on TV here in town. You know, when I first reached out to them, I just closed my eyes and it's like, here you go, and for the response, I was like, oh, and now I have a regular spot on TV.
I didn't know that about you. That's
Well,
awesome.
see, there you go.
Okay.
So, but I mean, am I nervous every time I go on? Yeah. But it's more important to get out the message and make a difference for just that one person. If I reach more, great, bonus. But it's like my hope is really, it's like, make a difference for one.
Right.
And that's why, so yeah, to answer your short question with a long answer, yes, I'm still scared sometimes, but I do it anyway. I don't acknowledge the fear. I mean, I do acknowledge the fear. I acknowledge that it's there, but I don't give it power.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense. It's just, and I asked that question because for so many people, we're not typically born with those skills and that insight and that ability to do that introspection, to know that. So I just feel like we get to this fork in the road and we don't know if we should turn left or if we should turn right. So we just stay there looking forward.
Right.
And there's no change, and there's no change, so there's no growth. And when there's no growth, there's no feeling of
if you're not
purpose.
growing, you're dying.
Right.
But I have to disagree a little bit with you because I believe when we are born, we have that ability. Because when we're born and when we're little, we do a lot on instinct. We go with our gut. It's what we learn that's going to inhibit all of that.
Well, true.
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 And it's those behaviors from the people that raise us.
Right.
And from, what we pick up on TV,
absolutely.
on radio, that's what's going to build our beliefs,
Right.
and that becomes our habits, and because we feel like we have to fit in. It's like, well, I have to do this because this is what's expected.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pick this career path now
Right.
because that is what's expected, because my whole family's been doing this, so I'm expected to do that.
Right.
And we actually get trained to dismiss our gut instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, you're
dismiss
right,
ourselves.
absolutely.
So that's why I have to.
Yeah, and I guess for me, yes, you're born that way, but it's like the
We forget.
right. Well, the
It
first 3 to 5
gets
years,
suppressed. Yes.
right,
Mhm.
are the most formative. So based on what happened after that time, between
Right.
3 and 5,
Mhm.
which is when a lot of the attachment theory comes into play, and
Right.
whatnot, like the avoidant and the anxious attachment styles, just based on our earlier caregivers and the thoughts they put into our brain,
Exactly.
and how nurturing they were, and
Mhm.
so yeah, it's like so if you're in that situation and you kind of come from that where it wasn't really positive and you didn't feel secure and you didn't feel
Yeah.
stable,
Right.
then it's really hard, I think,
It's
for
difficult.
the average person to just know what those coping skills are, because their
Mhm.
mind has just been wired over years of the same message, right?
Right.
And so it's like, how do we rewire? Who knows about neuroplasticity? In general, most people.
I think
in the room.
more and more people, because
Right.
there's the awareness. It all comes down to awareness.
It does.
So.
But that's because you and I are coaches, so we have this constant need to learn and grow and understand, but why is this happening? And right, so I think we are more inclined to run into this, right, and
Right.
discover this stuff
Well,
out.
what you think about, you bring about.
Absolutely.
It's that simple. So whatever you focus on, you get more of.
Right.
So for you and me, the focus is, it's like the power of awareness. It's like, how can I grow, and how can I understand this better? How can I make this work for me? How can I make this work for the clients? And So because our focus is there, our energy goes there, and we get more at that level.
Yeah. It's like you see that rock, and it's like all your life you've been trying to either go under it or crawl on top of it, and then you reach a point in your life where you know that nothing is going to change if you don't go through it. You got to find a way to go through it, And some people reach that stage a lot.
Well,
later.
sometimes you just go around it. That works too.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes there's a way around.
There's never one way, right?
No, and that's what I tell people too. It's like every problem has an infinite number of solutions. It does.
That's a good way to look at it. It's very mathematical.
Right, because the universe is infinite. There is, every problem has an infinite number of solutions, and my thing is like, you cannot fail unless you really explored those infinite numbers of solutions. You can quit
Right.
before you find the solution,
Right.
but that's not failing, that's quitting. There's a big difference.
There is a big difference.
So for me, failure doesn't exist. You can fall, you get up.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't fail, you had a learning experience.
Right.
So that's me.
Yeah. No, I
So-
believe that. I believe
So
that.
yeah, so failure is just, it's a word.
Right. Yeah. But it's a mindset to think
It
that
is,
way.
absolutely.
And that's what's tough. It's like, how do we get people that haven't done that work, that aren't super in touch with their feelings, or they're not able to really listen inside and hear spirit, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Well,
the universe.
I think it has to do because it's a scary place. It's a very scary place. And to really confront our truth, or the truth, our deep fears,
Mm-hmm.
it's scary, and it's hard work. I mean, it's not difficult. It's just hard work, and you have to put in the effort, and you have to work on it consciously, every single moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because our society is such as like, oh, there's a pill for that, there's a program for that. It's such an enabling society, and it's so easy to be a victim
Mm-hmm.
and just go with that.
Mm-hmm.
And let things happen to you.
Right.
Because when you're a victim, you give away your power.
Right.
Even you might think you're in control, you're not. Once you have that victim mindset and you feel like you deserve this, that, or the other, and you get this and that out of it. And I've been there. I've been
I think most of us
in
have.
the thicket of it,
Right.
and it's like, and then one day I realized it's like, wow, I'm giving away my power, but I had to look within me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I mean, it took me to some places where I was like, I don't want to be there. This is really scary. But it's like, I also knew in order to move forward and have a better life for myself, for my children, for everybody around me, I had to really work through all that darkness and push all those rocks aside and get off all of that. And it's tough.
It is tough.
It's tough, but it's worth it. And here's what's really cool is, you guys, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. It's like you can get a coach, but if you need more than coach, get clinical help. I mean, seriously, the psychiatrists, psychologists, and stuff, coaches are not for that. I want to make that clear. We're here to point you in a direction, but if you need more, and for some, there's really the chemical imbalance, and that there's really beyond what we can help with.
There is,
So.
I mean, what are your thoughts on the way medication is prescribed here in Western America? I mean, I mean, if you
That's
were
a
to
whole
throw
other
out
show.
a-
I don't want to get into that because it just irks me.
Okay.
It's just.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
frustrating.
people.
But,
I think a lot of
but
people-
again, it goes back into the victim society. It's like, you don't have to take ownership of you. You don't have to take responsibility for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pill for that. There's a program for that.
Right. Everyone wants the quick fix.
Everybody
Right.
wants a quick fix, but here's the thing. It's like, you can have a quick fix for the moment.
Right.
But it's just that it's a moment. It's not the long term. I rather look at, and I look for the quick fixes, and and I've done the quick fixes.
Sure.
But I always ended up off worse once that quick fix, when that was gone. When the medication wore off, or when whatever the feeling or whatever wore off, or that the program was over, or whatever. It's like, I was like, oh, I feel better right now in this moment, but then afterwards it's like, whoop.
Mm-hmm.
I went back down,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept going down. It's like, wait a minute, that's not.
Right.
And that's when I realized it's like, oh, to really get better, I own this. I own it. It's up to me.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, reach out for help. And I saw a psychiatrist for a while, and it helped me a great deal. And, it was part of me getting well and coming to where I am now.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, and it's like when you do the work too, and I've been on medications before in the past. I've had to take them for periods just to get through something.
Right.
But I found it's like and this is for just me personally, because there's all different layers of depression. Like you said, that's a completely different show. And I'm not a licensed counselor, I'm a coach.
Right.
But I would say for me, it's like it prevented me from really doing the work, because it was just numbing out a feeling I didn't want to feel, which was depressed or anxiety, right? And so it fixed that in the sense that I was able to just, function, and I wasn't quite as down, but I wasn't at the same time overcoming adversity and sitting through those feelings to learn from it, right? And I love what Tony Robbins says about how, change only happens when the pain of remaining the same is greater than the pain of changing, So I think it's you just gotta, when you finally hit that really deep, dark moment, which I have a couple times, that's when you really want to do the work. And it's like, I want to feel better than this, even, right? And how do I get there?
Right, and I think it's like with medication, because I was on Zoloft, I think, and yes, it numbs. It's like, oh, I don't feel the pain right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important is like, there's nothing wrong with the meds if you do the work at the same time.
Absolutely.
Just taking the meds
alone.
Alone.
It's just not enough for most.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
For anybody, I don't think, because it never deals with the real issue.
Right.
With the core.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like an outer layer of that onion or the artichoke or whatever you want to call it. You know, it's just an outside. The core of it, the heart of it, where that's coming from, that's still there. And unless that's being dealt with,
Mm-hmm.
there's no, you won't get better.
Oh boy, and it can be a painful, long road to get there.
It can. Oh yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
It can be. I mean, it was decades for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was a long road for me. But I was like, but then I also got a lot out of being in victimhood. You know, and as long as we get something out of it, why should we get out of it?
And I think, you know, I like to use the expression, and it's from Debbie Ford, so I'm stealing it from her.
Go
but
for it.
like the gift and the dust, you know. And when I read that in one of her books, it was just so powerful because it was just like, we always hear, okay, well, you know, are you going to make that same mistake again, or you know, learn from past mistakes? But how many of us really do? And it's like, so, okay, what is considered a mistake? Was it a bad choice? Okay, well, if it was a bad choice, what good came out of it? How many people actually reflect on that, you think? Whereas if they did, you know, like for me, it gave me purpose. Because I know I was miserable, because there was a lot of things that were broken within me from various, you know, different reasons. But had I have not gotten to that point at those different stages in my life, would I have even thought about, well, what is my purpose here?
Right.
And without purpose, I mean, statistics show, it's like when people retire from jobs that they've had for years and years and years, you know, they get really, really depressed. It's like even in, you know, your older age and in the golden years, it's like you've got to feel like a sense of community and purpose, like, you know, giving back in some way, whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Or else you kind of just silently die. And people that don't have a purpose have been shown to, you know, have more illness and not have as much longevity in their lives.
Well, I mean, if you have nothing to look forward to, you know, and, you know, they do like interviews with people, like older people, you know, asking about regrets.
Yeah.
And I think most of the regrets are the chances they never took and just not being in their purpose.
Right.
And just fizzling away. I mean, we all want to be remembered for something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're humans. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all want to leave some sort of a legacy behind.
Right.
Other than just like, yep, there she went. Next.
Right.
So we all want that, and I think the biggest regrets are the chances never taken.
Right.
Or, you know, it's like I know so many people, they're not living, they're existing. They're doing the same thing. Wake up, go to work, do the thing, come home, pay the bills, watch TV, over and over and over, and they're complaining, oh, my life sucks, and da-da-da-da-da. No, your life is the way you create it.
Yeah.
You know, if you want different things in life, you have to do different things. You have to think differently. And it's like, what is the definition of insanity?
Well, doing the same
thing,
over, getting the same
expecting
result.
different results. Yeah. That's insanity. I mean, it's like, and I compare it with like being on autopilot for one. Get off autopilot.
Yeah.
Become aware.
That's huge.
But it's like, we all know the hamster wheel. The hamster runs on the hamster wheel. And so many people run on a hamster wheel without realizing it.
Right.
And they think it's like, oh, if I run faster, if I work more, and da-da-da-da-da, then I get. No, you're just running faster on a hamster wheel, still going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And becoming miserable and working yourself in a heart attack and everything. Going faster, doing more of what you've been doing is not the answer.
Right.
Unless you absolutely enjoy what you're doing, that's a different story. But just to do it because you've been doing it your whole life, and you know your family has been doing it the whole time, and that's not the answer.
No, and it may have served its purpose at the time, right? Like just supporting a family,
right.
But at some point in time, yeah, a lot of people just come to that.
But they're stuck. I mean, it's just stuck. I mean, this right. Well, I've been doing this, and it's like I only have a few years left. I might as well continue. No. This is your life. This is your life.
Mm-hmm.
We create the life. And once I learned, oh my God, that was a hard lesson. Once I learned and understood that everything that I experience in my life, everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, I attract it. It's like, what do you mean I attract it? I didn't attract that mother of mine. I didn't attract, having all that. No. Yes. That was a hard pill to swallow.
Well,
That,
it is.
that was a very, very hard pill to swallow. So now I look at it, it's like, well, that, why?
Mm.
You know, and a lot of times when we attract things on a subconscious level, on an unconscious level, we don't even realize. But again, where your energy
No, you
goes,
don't.
where your thoughts and your energy go, you get more because it's a law of attraction.
Right.
You know, it's like attracts like. So,
Yeah, like dysfunction breeds dysfunction, you know?
You know, and misery loves company. I mean, we've all
Right.
heard those things.
Right.
You know, but it's like once you realize and you take ownership and the responsibility for it, it sucks, let me tell you. It sucks like a super Hoover at first. But at the same time, once you accept it, it becomes one of the most liberating things you will ever do.
You know, I love that. And for me, what came to mind when you said that was how freeing it was for me. Like, you know, fear of abandonment issues. And, you know, I come across as a very confident person, but I have a lot of, you know, I carried a lot of self-doubt around my life.
No, we all have. I mean, at some
Yeah.
point we all have,
Yeah.
and some we still do.
Sure.
You know? I mean, there's
yeah.
there's times for me too
We're
when
always
I'm going
evolving.
like,
Always evolving.
always.
Yeah, but it's just knowing, you know, that you're not happy with where you're at right now, and the only thing that's going to change that is if you just push out of your comfort zone. And it's like for you and me, sometimes it's like from where I've been in terms of discomfort, really how much more uncomfortable could it get, right? So,
Hey, if you've
Go
been
for
through
it.
hell,
right, you've got some good contrast there.
I mean, you know, been there, done that. This sucked. This is better. I work on this and I focus on this. I acknowledge that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the thing too is like there's no, without dark, there's no light.
Right. It's that contrast in so
Right.
many areas of life.
Right, you know, and it's like, I understand it's like I had to go through because now I look at it. I mean, once I started taking responsibility, it's like, okay, what do I need to learn? Because it's really what it is about.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that the universe or God, whatever you want to call it, a higher power, you know, we're here to learn and grow. And we get the same lessons over and over, and every time there's a little added to it. Do you get it now? No? Here you go, have some more. There's
Right.
there's more fire.
It's like the hot sauce on the tongue.
Right. And it's like, and it more and more gets added every time that cycle comes back around because you have not yet learned the lesson. It's like, whoa. And then it's a little tougher. And it's a little harder. Eventually, you'll get the message.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. You know, I mean, I got it. And it's like, oh, wait, stop. I need to learn something because this crap keeps coming.
Right.
And it goes repeating. And every time it's more.
Right.
And it's more. And it's more. And it's like, well, there's a lesson here.
Yeah, it's like to the point you've got to question it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do I need to learn here?
Yeah.
You know, what is the takeaway? And that is the beginning of changing the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having, again, power of awareness.
Yeah.
You know, it's like being aware, but you also have to take responsibility, and that's a hard thing. It's like understanding, it's like, because we're a society, we can blame everything on anybody.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, there's so much I could have
right.
blamed on my upbringing and this,
Exactly.
that, and the other, and for
Yeah.
a while I did,
Mm-hmm.
until I got a clue.
Mm-hmm.
And until I realized it's like, you know what, I can blame
Right.
till pigs fly, or I take responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I try and teach my older children that too.
Yeah.
Because they like to use some of those things,
But that's a
from the
society, that's
right, a way to excuse something, you
Right.
know, to excuse behavior, not pursuing something, or I'll never do this, or.
but that's part of the conditioning, it's part of
Yeah.
that programming that's been instilled in us, all around us. I mean, from growing up with our parents and then
Mhm.
the media around us. I mean, some of the songs, they're like, oh my gosh, seriously? I mean, it's not a surprise that we're because we're humans. We go the easiest route.
Right.
And it has become the easiest route, apparently become the easiest route, but it's really not.
It's
'Cause
not
when-
satisfying.
It's not satisfying,
Yeah.
and it's by any means easy.
No.
It might be easy in that moment, but the ramifications in the long term, that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
So it's just, life is fun. Make it fun. You can make it fun. And it's like the hard lessons. I mean, you've been through some zingers.
I have an ex-wife-in-law, so yeah.
Did not
Yeah.
expect that one.
Yeah, you know, my first husband left when I was 6 months pregnant. I had 13-month-old twins at home.
Oh,
and,
wow.
yeah, there's a whole story behind that I'm not going to get into now.
Right.
But, you know, it was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's only years ago. I could, you know, years later you can laugh about it. I mean, the time it's not real funny when you find out, you know, like there's another Mrs., you know, blah,
Right.
blah, that exists that shares your husband. But, yeah, over time, you know, I mean, that's just, you got to take everything in stride and
Right.
happen for a reason, right?
It did, and you know,
I
sometimes...
got 3 amazing kids out of it, and, you know, and then after seeing the patterns in other relationships, right, that's when I stepped back and did my holy shit, this is the dark side of me. These are the insecurities,
But
these
again,
are the vulnerabilities.
that's the universe giving you the
Well,
same lesson
exactly.
over and with a little add-on.
Right.
With a little add-on
Right.
until
You get it.
you get it.
Right.
And then one day you realize, and that's exactly what I was talking about, one day you realize it's like, well, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This
And I
is
love
on
that
repeat.
it validates when there's times that you feel like you're not normal or there's something wrong with you. It's like, okay, now
Define
I
normal.
know. Well, there is
Define
no
normal.
I just don't know another word for it.
I know what
I
you
don't
mean,
know
but
another
there's
word
really,
for it.
you are normal, the way you
Right.
are, because you're you.
Right. But when you're faced with having to look inward and see
Right.
those characteristics, okay, well, this is why I reacted this way in a relationship. Maybe this is why I became needy in this relationship or suspicious in that relationship. So how do I, now that I know that that's where it came from, how do I fix that dysfunction, right, to get to a place where it's not ever going to interfere in a negative way again?
But again, it's that power of awareness. Now you're aware.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
now
you have to reach that point.
You have to reach that point,
Yeah.
and it's like now when stuff happens, it's like alarm bells are going. It's like, well, wait,
Yeah, time to take some ownership, you know?
right?
Yeah.
And you know, and it's like, because at some level, consciously, unconsciously, we attract everything, and it's really for us to learn and grow.
Mm-hmm.
The good, the bad, the ugly. And again, for me, it was like I didn't want that to be true for a long time. I was like, but no, I was fighting it. I was really fighting it until I realized it's like, you know
I
what?
think we all do that.
Maybe I give it a shot.
Yeah.
What if there's something to this? You know, that what if, because clearly this is not working over here.
Right.
So what if there is some merit to that information?
Mm-hmm.
And then I bring it over here, and now it's like, wow, why did I not do this sooner?
Oh my gosh.
Because I wasn't ready. I wasn't
Right.
ready. I mean, I heard it, but I wasn't ready to hear it.
And that's what I kept asking myself, even up until, you know, recently, really. It's like, okay, and you and I talked about that earlier, right? It's like there was all these doors that seemed to be closing in my life and chapters, and it's like, okay, what the heck is going on here? Like, why isn't anything working out, right? My perception of
Because
working
it's
out.
not your flow. It's
Right.
not. It's not your purpose. It's not what you're
Exactly.
supposed to be doing.
Exactly. And so that was just the universe saying, no, we're not taking you off course. We're trying to put you on the course.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
we're just scooting you over a little bit.
It's again.
Yeah.
Instead of going through the rock, you go around the rock.
Right.
You know, it's just we
Just
expect
find a way.
right, but we're so conditioned. We expect to get the answers in the way we want them, in a nicely packaged with the bow on it, right in our faces.
Well, the burning bush, like I always use that. I need to be like knocked on the head. Yeah, Gary gets really
I laugh.
frustrated
It's like,
with me
yeah, I get
because-
hit by the universe with a 2x4. Wow.
Right.
So
Yeah. Like I'm a very literal person,
Me too.
right? So I overanalyze everything, right? So I just feel like it just has to like show up and ring my bell and say, oh, we're here. You know, this is your life. This is your life purpose. But then after going through the adversity and seeing the patterns, it's like, okay, I got through this a few times. You know, there's a reason I went through that, and now I'm helping other people.
here's
figure
your
out
sign.
how to go through that. Exactly.
And it really is. And like I said, it's like same stuff happens, you know, different people, different something, but the gist of it stays the same until we take the lesson and learn from it, grow from it, learn from it, move on from it, you know, and it's like, and along the way, there's people like you and me, we take what we've learned and we share it with you guys, you know, because it's like, we understand, we gone through this, there's others going through that.
Yeah, maybe they can get through it quicker than we did, you know?
Right, but that's why we do what we do.
Yes.
Because we want to help you guys
Right.
get through it quicker.
And teach how not to do it.
What not to do.
Right.
Again, there's a lesson, and there's always a lesson, and I keep repeating it. Sometimes it's a lesson in what not to do.
Right.
You know, but there's always a lesson. There's always something to be grateful for. And I love that there's people like you and me, you know, who don't just keep it in for ourselves and it's like, well, this is my story and blah, blah, blah. But we're here and we're sharing it. And that's part of why I'm doing the show.
Yeah.
To let people know they're not alone and there is hope and you're not the only one going through this. You know, everybody's going through something. And I love, and I quote her all the time, Lisa Nichols. She said, your story is not yours to keep.
I like that. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? Your story is not yours to keep. So guys, if you have a story you want to share, reach out. I'll be happy to have you on the show, either in person if you're in Colorado or you're willing to drive, you know, or we can do a Zoom thing. If you have a story that you want to share where you think it will help others, inspire others, make others smile, reach out.
And that's such a big part of the self-acceptance and the self-love is when you can be very transparent about the really ugly sides of your life and things that have happened, you know,
Yes.
things that most people perceive as embarrassing or, oh my God, I don't, you know, she'll never get hired in the corporate world again by making that, you know, it's like until you can reach that point of acceptance within yourself,
It's huge.
I mean, that is just, that's so awesome to be able to do that.
It's
because
liberating
then, you know,
beyond
you
everything.
know, you've really like figured it out and you're comfortable now with who you are and you love who you are and
That's
you're so
big.
proud of who you are for
I'm
how
proud
you've
of who you
landed.
are because you're amazing.
Oh, you're amazing.
Thanks. No, I really, see, and I believe, I mean, there are no coincidences. We were connected for a reason. And, hey, if nothing else, the reason is for you to be on my show to share.
Right.
I know there's more to it. There's more reasons why we connected, but
Right.
that's just one of them.
Yeah.
You know, so
It
it's, I love
And
it.
that's what life's about. You know, it's about connections. And it's just sad as a race. I mean, we're just so busy now. We've gotten away from our roots and,
Oh, yeah.
you know, everything's like on, you know, there's so much screen time. And like, I mean,
Yeah, I
even,
know.
even at my age, like women were like texting each other, me and my girlfriends. And I have to just pick up the phone sometimes because I just need to,
Right.
it's not like I'm hearing a heartbeat, but I feel like it's more of a pulse than, and
Yeah.
I got man thumbs too. So it's like really hard for me to text. It's like, dang,
I never heard
iPhones,
that
man.
expression. I heard fat finger issues, you know, but yeah, anyway, so thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing you and your story and just being you and being amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So, and taking on the traffic and, you know, all the good stuff.
It was a nice
So,
ride, beautiful drive.
I know it. I love Colorado, so. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got something out of it. Again, if you have a story that you want to share or know somebody, you know, drop me a message, drop me a line. I'd love to have you on the show. And, oh, get the gift. Quick Guide to Happiness at mattersofperspective.com. What's my gift to you to help you get on that path to happiness real quick. So, anyway, thank you for watching. As always, be happy, be kind, be love. Until next time. Bye.